Hi all, in celebration of the new London system course, Kingscrusher TV / London system, I have an interesting trap to show you within the London system. So this featured game today was played online actually, just earlier this year, 4th of August, between Konstantin Perrier against Stanislav Tryfon. So let's have a look at this interesting game. D4 by Konstantin Perrier, and we have E6, Bishop f4, and now c5. So this is a very interesting system by black, not deploying knight f6, which is quite common, or d5. So this is slightly unusual territory. Now the key move e3 can be used here, and it seems as though white has the Achilles heel b2. But so often this can be double-edged, this pawn. It can be used sometimes as a poison pawn. It actually has different levels of poison, really depending on the position. Now here, after queen b6, white plays a very, very interesting knight c3 move. And I believe black's best move, one of black's best moves, may be a6 here. And this is interesting. It has been used by grandmasters with the black pieces, and it is interesting territory to explore. And I have got a few recommendations in the actual Kingscrusher TV London system course about a6. But let's have a look at this if black takes. So is that pawn poison here or not? What does white play here, do you think? If I give you 5 seconds to pause the video. Okay, the key move here is knight b5. So the threat is knight c7 check, forking the rook and king. And if black plays check, it doesn't matter. You just play c3, and the knight is supported by the bishop. So knight a6 was played, but just to put it on the board concretely, check, c3, we play knight c7 check, and you might think, well, is there a backfire? In fact, here you don't even need to immediately take the rook. Stronger is knight f3. So after knight f6, just take the rook now, and then knight d2 is very convenient. So that's the way to do that actually. Knight f3 is the subtlety which makes it even more effective. So anyway, in this game knight a6 was played, and now white is basically able to trap the queen with a cute move. I wonder if you can guess what white plays here. Okay, a3. So this is all really, really bad for black now. The queen is basically trapped. It's going to get trapped. And you'll notice this is London system version 2.0. There's no knight on f3. White has set a massive trap in this particular sequence. And there's no way for black to get out of it. So this is important to play a3 to deprive black of the b4 square. If you play instead bishop c4, then there's queen b4 check. And then just taking here. So a3, and it also vacates, importantly, the a2 square. We have c takes d4. That's interesting, and e takes d4 was played. If instead here, in this position, if d5 was played, in fact, here rook b1, and in this position, the key move, can you guess what would be the key move in this position? Okay, queen c1. Yeah, this is the key move here. So that rook a1 is now threatened without queen b2. It makes rook a1 super effective. So say c takes, rook a1, and the queen is also trapped by one of her own pawns on that diagonal. So that's black playing this d5 move. So that would be just hopeless to lose the queen there. If we go back and yeah, there's not too many alternatives actually. If we look at queen takes a1, yeah, it's not too much compensation for black. If we go back, instead of d5 here, you might think, well, what about knight f6? Now here, bishop c4, and this is actually one of the simpler ways to trap the queen in this particular position, bishop c4. So for example, knight d5, rook a2, yeah, just rook a2. Where is the queen going? And if here knight c3, you're just winning a piece actually, you just win a piece in the game. If instead we have knight b4, then just take that And here, after c3, queen takes, we play knight c7 check and just take the rook. So here, there's king f1, and there's no problems after that. So yes, this a3 really locks the queen in. And it shows, why London system version 2.0, without the knight f3, is so dangerous. You have these lines with this early knight c3. So black in this particular game played c takes. After e takes, there was knight f6. Here, bishop c4. Now d5. So, in fact, white could immediately play rook a2 here and win the queen. That's probably the strongest move. White played bishop b3, but the queen's not going anywhere in any case. But rook a2, yeah, the queen's just trapped. Would have to give herself up. So bishop b3, the trap's still there. Now rook b1 was played. The queen was won. And as you can imagine, the game wasn't lasting too long after. Okay, bishop takes b5, but bishop takes d5, hitting the bishop, hitting b7. Knight takes. If bishop c6 here, then bishop takes, and queen b7 is forking rook and knight. And so that's horrible. And also here, it's better to take on c6 first, and then queen takes a6. So we have knight takes d5, queen takes b5, queen takes b7, bishop takes, check, knight takes, and white's just got a winning position, essentially. The game continued a little bit, but it's essentially pretty easy for white to convert this. So we have knight e5 here, check, knight c6, check, knight takes b4, and now queen f8 skewing nicely the king and rook. So yeah, so just from a theoretical perspective, this London system version 2.0 against e6, yeah, bishop f4, c5, e3. So this knight is purposely delayed. So this is a new novel way of playing London system, which has caught on greatly in recent years. And if you remember, I did that Magnus Carlsen's top secret move order video in London system where bishop f4 was the preference. So here, it's quite often a theme you have to consider, that one little sort of downside of this bishop going to f4 is b2, and it often gets picked on. But there are some very exciting variations where sometimes this is just a poison pawn, and here this is one of those cases. Just knight c3 to recap, knight b5. So we're creating a common square out of the bishop and knight immediately, threatening knight c7, and now a3 just locks the queen in. So a fantastic trap worth knowing if you get this variation. And here, yeah, rook a2 would have just done the job much more quicker as well as bishop b3. But it shows the helplessness that even here, after bishop b3, it's hopeless for black. Okay, I hope you use this and maybe take up the London system. But yeah, I've done this epic course. It's over 20 hours of video content at Kingscrusher TV/London system, where you get this version 2.0. And I just think it's a formidable weapon. You're keeping in your territory. You're minimizing the amount of opening theory you need to know. And so it's, in my view, it's got one of the highest cost benefits of anything you'll study with the white pieces. Okay. I hope you check it out. Thanks very much. Comments, questions, like, share, subscribe with the notification bell. Always appreciated. Cheers then.